Hey, March the 9th. My name is Sean Carrier. Thank you for being with us. We're thinking of changing the name of the program to How to Burn Money in March. We apologize for another losing selection last night, but hey, we're still super profitable thanks to a stellar February, and we're going to get back on the winning track tonight. We've got three selections today, some games that we really like. So let's dive right into the first selection. We're going to recommend a one-unit play on the Cleveland Cavaliers, laying 4.5 points tonight in Detroit, playing a tough Pistons squad that's definitely playing better basketball of late, especially at home. But a few reasons why we like the Cavs to get it done. So let's dive right in. This game has a bit of a unique scenario. These teams have played 9 times in 2016. They played twice this year. They had four playoff games last year, and then another three games coming in 2016 in the regular season last year. Now, in those games, the Cavaliers won 6 of the 9 times, and maybe something a little more interesting I saw with the totals of this game. Only twice in those 9 meetings did any of these games reach 217 or more, and one of them was an overtime game, as you can see here, 112-110. So in regular time, this game would have stayed under the total as well. Total a little struck me as a little odd. 217 feels really high. We might also be pulling the trigger on the under. Still just mulling it over a little bit. So getting down to Cleveland's recent history, this is maybe the worst funk they've been in all year. They're coming off 2 straight losses to Miami. Worth noting, in the first game against Miami, Cleveland rested LeBron and Kyrie, so no surprise that they lost there. But in their very last game, they played them both and still ended up losing. That was a bad edge selection. Cleveland just no effort through the first 3 quarters and just did not have enough in the tank to pull it out in the fourth quarter. We're going to look for that to work in their favor today. This is a championship caliber team, and with that, just terrible effort in their last game. We're definitely going to expect a motivated bunch from the tip tonight. I'd be very surprised if we saw a lackluster effort from the squad, especially in the first quarter of tonight's game. So yeah, it's a great team. We don't have to worry too much about these losses of late. Seem to have more to do with effort and resting players than any sort of slump that they might be in. Get down to Detroit's recent form here. Definitely worth noting that they played last night in Indiana. So this is the second night of a back-to-back for them. And it's a situation that they have not been profitable in this year. We'll get to that in just a second. Just something else I'd like to note, though. They've played a bunch of basketball here of late. This is a set of back-to-backs. The last day of February, first day of March. Then they had 2 games in between, and now another set of back-to-backs here coming from Indiana all the way to Cleveland to play the Eastern Conference champion Cavaliers. They could be in tough tonight. So we'll scroll down to the referees here. We've got Bill Kennedy, Courtney Kirkland, and Justin Vandewen. Not a terrible crew. Don't think we need to highlight too much there. But the day's rest, this is where this pick really comes together. If you look at Detroit's record here on 0 days rest, 2-9 straight up, 2-9 against the spread. Their average points for seems to be where it strikes this team the most. On 1 day's rest, they average 102.6 points per game. On 0 days rest, that goes down to 92. So they're scoring an average of 10 points less on the second night of a back-to-back. Just without the legs, the jumpers seem to be falling short, but their defense seems to hold true. 102 to 103.3 is not a big jump. It's this offense scoring 10 points less. That could definitely factor in with that high total that was posted, as we stated earlier, at 217. Detroit plays totals much closer to 195 on the second night of back-to-back. As we go through this pick, we're kind of liking that under more and more. Just before we move off the day's rest, just take a look at Cleveland on 2 days rest, 11-2, 8-4 against the spread. Their numbers stay very, very consistent. They're a great team. Too much rest is not going to make them much better. They're an elite level team usually, no matter how many days rest they have. And coming off those back-to-back losses, as we said, we're going to look for a motivated bunch. If anyone's paying attention to the line of this game, you might see some reverse line movement, as I believe this game opened at 6 and is now down to 4.5. I believe it's just these injury concerns here. Bogut's out for the season. Kevin Love's still out. But tonight they'll also be playing without Kyle Korver, and it doesn't look like J.R. Smith is quite ready to return. Probably going to need one more practice, maybe one more game's rest. But this shouldn't affect them too much. I mean, they've recently acquired Deron Williams, and in my opinion right now, he's a better player than Kyle Korver or J.R. Smith. So look to see a lot of Kyrie Deron lineups, and as well as Kyrie playing with Iman Shumpert, and an increase in Shumpert's minutes could also help this game trend under, as he's definitely more of a defensive player than these other two guards that would normally take his spot, and definitely less of an offensive threat than Korver or J.R. Smith is. So could definitely help the under. Especially as we see Detroit scoring so many less points on that second night of a back-to-back. We'll just get to the summary here real fast. We highlighted most of these things already. So yeah, these teams have played 9 times in 2016 alone. Cavs have won 6 of those 9, and only 2 times in those 9 games did the total reach 217 points. Cleveland is coming off 2 straight losses, and also have an extra day's rest under their belt. Some more time to stew about those losses. We're definitely going to expect a motivated bunch tonight. Detroit playing that second night of a back-to-back. In that situation, they're 2-9 straight up and against the spread, and score 10 less points than their average. Something I didn't touch on earlier, Detroit is playing their 6th game in 10 days, and this will also be their 5th consecutive court change. So in and out of cities for this last week or so, have not been in the same city for more than a day, playing a ton of games and not a lot of nights. And now they're getting the Eastern Conference champion Cleveland Cavaliers in town, in a situation where Detroit really seems to struggle this year. Could be in for a long night in Detroit tonight. And then Cleveland 11-2 straight up with 2 days rest. Situation they absolutely seem to relish. They do not get caught off guard with that extra rest under their belt. And the last point here, we're getting the superior team in a good spot with that extra rest versus the inferior team in a bad spot coming off that back-to-back with travel. This is just about what we look for when we break these games down every day. So we're going to pull the trigger. We're going to get back on the winning track with this one. We really like it. The Cleveland Cavaliers minus the 4.5 points. Put it on the board. Should be a bet edge winner. We also might release that under 217. So be sure to check the Twitter page. Follow us on Twitter at bet_edge for all of our picks, videos, and betting tools. All absolutely free. We're definitely going to pull the trigger on some more selections today. So definitely check the Twitter to see what those selections are. So put on the board, guys. Cleveland Cavaliers minus 4.5. We're going to get back on the winning track. We hope this helped. Thank you for tuning in. As always, good night and good luck.